Hello, everybody. This is the Future Elements. Welcome to the Behind the Elements podcast, episode 6. And we have a excuse me. We have a pretty hefty group here. We got quite a lot of people, as you guys can see on the visual screen side of things. But I'll let everyone introduce themselves. Go ahead, Mega.
Hello, it's Megalodon here again.
And then Grumpy.
Hello everyone, my name is GrumpyElite. You may know me from such works as EU 2021, Stalker, Return of the Spartans, a great drama, action, thriller, comedy, suspenseful, tenseful, Halo Reach, machinima. Go check it out. If you don't, I will kill you. Thank you very much.
Oh, God.
All right, Matt.
I'm Matt Wong, aka Sit Down, voice actor, machinima dude, etc.
All right, Tommy.
I'm Tommy MC J, body actor for a handful of machinimas, including Colonel Goard, Scorched Dawn, and possible voice actor for a character in future season. Still up in air, but yeah, hello.
And A-Star.
Hello, my name is A-Star. I run the hub on Discord, one of the biggest communities for machinima, and I also do a lot of voice acting for a lot of prominent machinima directors in the community.
I forgot that you were also a voice actor, so that means I'm actually going to have to hire you on something because one of the actors won't respond to me. Anyway, Siphonal.
Jerk.
I am Siphon Object 1. I am a body actor. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So, if it sounds like I'm bored or anything, guys, it's because I'm really, really fucking tired.
No, you're good.
One hell of a week. One hell of a week for me. Not going to get into that.
Yeah.
But, so Mega actually has some topics, so we're going to listen to him talk. I feel like this is kind of the shtick of the podcast, is that we hear Mega talk for a lot.
Well, it's more just like movies and then just funny stuff.
Well, go ahead, man.
All right, so
I'll take it now.
and as always, I like to go over certain movies that I usually watch ahead of most people on the podcast here. Of course, last week and today being Saturday the 13th.
Because you're secretly married to all the movie theaters in your area.
Well, only just one. That's like a few minutes away and all that.
Well, you're married to the manager of it. So
That's as many rings on your fingers.
Yeah, but so I went to see. So since the last podcast, I actually got to see Pet Sematary, and then of course last night I actually saw the recent Hellboy. So two pretty big, relatively big reboots.
Has anyone else?
For sure.
First off, has anyone else here seen either
Yeah,
of
has
those
anyone else
movies?
seen either of those?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
All right. Well, I won't go.
Not got that much of an interest for Hellboy, but Pet Sematary is one I'm planning to watch.
Yeah. As always, I won't go into any spoilers, but
Well,
I'll just.
and
give
the
some
other
Pet
question:
Sematary.
has anyone seen the original Pet Sematary and the original Hellboys?
Nope.
Seen
Yeah,
the original
I've
Hellboy,
seen-
but not Pet Cemetery.
I've seen both.
Okay.
It's the original
So it's going to
Hellboy.
be an interesting
Not Pet
topic either
Sematary,
way,
though.
because we're going to probably talk about, since they're both basically remakes / reboots. We're going to do comparisons anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new ones though, so I've got no ground to stand on there.
Yeah, me neither.
I'll just give what my thoughts are on them and stuff. Like with some of the things, like there are going to be some details that I will, of course, mention, but they won't be like super spoilery details. So for you guys and the audience, just listen.
That's fine.
So starting with the first one that I saw, which was Pet Sematary, which of course is the famous Stephen King book, the one that terrified him the most when he wrote. Of course, the original came out. Yeah, it surely does. The original came out many, many years ago, and I watched it as well, but I wasn't really that much of a fan of it because of just the horrendous acting at the time. But of course, it's a product of its
Cue
time.
Resident
so-
Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, it literally is a Resident. It literally was essentially.
Take this, Jill.
Um,
Maybe you, the master of
so-
unlocking.
Wow,
can
you
use
were
it.
almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Thank you.
Yeah, so this reboot was produced by the same guys who made It, the recent the rebooted It and stuff, which I thought was really fantastic.
You say that 5 times
So I was
fast.
very-
Rebooted it.
It was yeah, rebooted it.
Oh, God.
It was so I was very much looking forward to it already, and when like knowing that like okay, so they kind of have a bit of a trend with some of the Stephen King movies becoming popular, with the exception of The Dark Tower and all that. So I'm really interested to see how this would go. Overall, I think this is way better than the original film by a landslide, because it has really great performances, really great tension, and it does pretty well in terms of accuracies to the book, but it does make quite a lot of changes that I think people would feel split about if you're a fan of reading the book, or maybe if you were a fan of the original, ironically or not. The only thing is that I just felt that some, like, the performances, even though they're great, I felt the lead character was a bit flat. He's played by Jason Clarke, and he's not really the best kind of person in most of the movies he's been in. You guys probably know him. He was in
Terminator Genesis.
he was in that, yeah, he was in the really shitty Terminator Genesis movie as John Connor, and then he was also in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which is a fantastic movie, but again, he was quite a flat character in that too. So in a way, he kind of bogged down the movie a bit, but the rest of it, though, the rest of the characters, like John Lithgow is in this movie, and he was fantastic. Probably his best role in many years since Shrek.
Was he in Shrek?
Yeah, he was Lord Farquaad.
Oh, what the fuck?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
was Lord Fuckwad?
Lord Fuckwad.
Yeah.
Lord Fuckwad.
And also another great thing I have to give props to the movie for is that the kid actors were actually really good, because that's the thing with most horrors these days, is that you really run the risk when you have kid actors of really just sucking and all that. But they really did a great job with this one, as well as the cat is fucking terrifying. Which, of course, if anyone either
You
knows
would
the
be
original...
afraid of pussy.
How did I know that was going to be said? It was like, oh god, I know the joke's coming.
Well, you ain't, but I
so
mean...
yeah, yeah. So overall, I don't. It's definitely not like the best movie of the year and all that. It does kind of drag a little bit with, and again has a bit of a flat lead at first and all that. But as it goes on, it gets really better and better. And the other issue is that the trailers did give away quite a lot that happens in the movie. So I would recommend avoid.
The current thing today, though.
Yeah, it's a huge problem for sure. And I just like the first trailer for the movie was fine. It didn't reveal that much. It just gave you the basic premises. But then the second one came around and showed some of the pretty gruesome scenes, which if you've seen the original, then you know this stuff is going to happen anyway, so it's not too big of a deal. But for those who may have just wanted to get into the movie for the first time, it will definitely be a bit of an annoying thing. But I will say it has one of the best endings that I did not expect, for sure. It's definitely going to be one of this year's underrated flicks, I will say. So that's my thoughts on the new Pet Sematary. Now,
I haven't seen
for
I haven't seen the original, so I wouldn't be able to compare on that topic.
Yeah, but even if
It's like,
you
let's face
haven't,
it, best acting goes to the cat.
I would say, because the fact that they used 9 cats.
Best
for the
actress,
movie-
pussy.
Apparently, having a read now, apparently trained as well.
They were very trained, but it was a lot to handle. Apparently, they calling them 9 divas. I believe that was literally the name of the article. It was funny. Yeah. So now
It's literally named Diva.
So now The
Yep.
other movie which I saw last night was the newest Hellboy.
Tell the date of last night because they're.
Oh, okay. So the date of last night was April 12th. So, of course, basically official release of Hellboy and stuff, just coming right off Shazam and stuff, and already that Shazam is still beating everything in the box office right now. No surprise there. So when I saw this movie, I was really excited to see it for one because I wasn't too much of a fan of the original ones. I'll admit. Bring on the hate. But so okay, it's a bit hard to say what my thoughts of this movie were, but first of all, I think David Harbour was fantastic. Even though I love Ron Perlman's take as well, I felt that David Harbour really nailed it as a very seasoned character, as well a bit more of a mature take on the character, and he looks great. He sounds great, and it's like he's walking, talking Hellboy. Like this is the Hellboy I kind of really envisioned and all that from like comic, from like comic to screen and all that. And then all the other performances are pretty good too, like especially Daniel Day Kim as Ben Daimyo, which is another character from the comics. He did a great job and all that. The practical effects are incredible. Like this is the fact, like in such a CGI heavy, like movie time that we have and all that. The fact that this movie really relied mostly on practical effects was incredible. And then it does have its share of CGI as well, but it looks decent enough. Like the trailers made it look like it was clumpy, but honestly, the CGI in the final product is actually pretty decent. In some areas, it could have used refined, but the fact that this movie had a lower budget than its predecessors and stuff, it kind of says a lot. Now, the main issue with it is the narrative. The narrative was very clunky and kind of all put together, which kind of leads into the whole rumor that this movie might have been a product of studio interference in a very severe way. The action and the gore is fucking incredible. Like, you're going to be entertained nonetheless and stuff. But in terms of like how this compares to the originals, like it's more of a it stands on its own way and all that. You can't really compare the two because it's trying to do something new. It does not want to
say that you think it stands on its own.
I think it stands on its own because it just tries to be different. Like there is kind of like one thing that they do redo, which is of course basically explaining like Hellboy's like origin and all that, but they do it a little bit quickly and all that. But in terms of how the two are, I think the originals had a better narrative structure. This movie had more things that I wanted in the originals. Like it definitely had a much more mature theme. It got all the things right with the gore, the violence. It was perfect. Like the horror vibes that it gives and stuff, and how it looks is incredible. And the acting overall from everyone is pretty great, with the exception of the villain, I would say. But the narrative was pretty clunky and all that, and I think it did drag down a lot of the entertainment value, but I still found some entertainment in it, so overall,
From what I've been following the new Hellboy movie reviews, like on my favorite reviewers like Angry Joe, Jeremy Johns, and Chris Stuckman. And
yeah, it's getting destroyed by so many people. Although Chris Stuckman did give a lot of positive. I'm kind of on the side of Chris Stuckman, to be honest.
I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10.
He hasn't reviewed it yet.
Well, I watched his review, and he said that it's entertaining, but in a very mindless way. Because the story is garbage. They introduced so many different characters that they tried to cram. They basically tried to cram a 6-hour movie into a 2-hour movie.
That is true. That is true to a degree. Although some of the characters do introduce, I think, are fine. Like Hellboy's introduction, pretty decent. Ben Daimo's pretty decent. Alice, pretty decent. And of course, a little bit of Professor Broom. I think Ian McShane was a very nice highlight and stuff. Though again, the villain and then some of the other characters, I just felt like you're kind of really packing in with that one. And especially since they're just using so many other storylines from Hellboy comics, it's just like, okay, even though I like what you're doing with some of them, like the fact that they were pretty accurate with some of these stories. It's just like, do we need all of these in it? And you could save these for a much later time and have them be much more fleshed out and interesting. That's so that was definitely. I do hope that maybe the movie could get a second one, because the ending does kind of lean toward a sequel. It has 2 post-credit scenes and all that. It has the potential, as long as the studio just kind of leaves the artists to do their work, because that's kind of what this movie was kind of resulted in. So I still recommend it. It's a mindless flick. I like it a bit more than the original 2 and stuff, although again the narrative could have been better.
Take it like this: this movie has lower reviews than Transformers 4.
Dude, Transformers 4 was like the worst movie I've ever seen. Like, I don't know why people didn't rip that apart more, because I thought like it was like the worst storytelling ever.
Yeah. I think
bad.
Yeah, I think the critics were pretty. It's not that this Hellboy is not as bad as what the critics are saying.
I can't see anything being worse than The Last Night. I've seen machinimas that are better than The Last Night, okay?
Yeah. This is definitely better than that. Yeah, and you know what? The funny ass thing is that this is
I feel
a
like the
slight
only reason
spoiler.
I feel like one of the only reasons that Hellboy is going to be better than Transformers, no matter how shit the Hellboy reboot is going to be for anybody, is the fact that it's comic book and it's Hellboy. We've seen Hellboy before. With the Transformers movies, they were action figures that got cartoon movies, and they're all animated, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, it's David Harbour, he's kind of like a top star.
I really don't like that makeup. It
actually looks good when you see it in the movie. Actually,
the thing is, when I saw it in the trailer, it just looks so disconjointed and weird and oddly shaped. I liked Ron Perlman's because it just felt like it was all flush, because he has a big motherfucking head.
Yeah, but this one, they kind of, well, again, they were also trying, because since Mike McGee, creator of Hellboy, was actually on production of this and stuff, he wanted to make it more like how his artwork looks like, which is, of course, that when you look at Hellboy, he's not really that well structured, and also he is like covered in scars and has all these different things and stuff, and so in a way, it makes him seem more like a mature and seasoned hunter, which I actually do quite enjoy, rather than the kind of noobish look of Ron Perlman's. Even though his looked good and stuff like that, I just felt like he didn't really seem like the kind of professional monster killer as this guy does and stuff. Just like, who would you rather have kill some really nasty monsters and stuff? I would choose David Harbour's, but that's just me and all that.
I would choose Ron Perlman in a heartbeat.
Fair enough. Yeah, so anyway, that's just my take. But now let's talk about the one thing that everyone has probably been wondering about. That Star Wars trailer. That also came out yesterday on April 12th. What are your guys' initial reactions?
I'm not gonna write
That
something
laugh
off
was
before
what
I've seen
really
it,
interested me, in all honesty.
Well, it is a teaser. As all teasers, they do not try to show much.
Do it.
But
I think the thing about okay, so with the teaser for episode 9, I saw it. I immediately woke up and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be cool." So I watch it, and I love J.J. Abrams' take of Star Wars a whole lot more than Ryan's, because I feel like Ryan's was trying so hard to be. It's Ryan.
No, it's Rian.
It's Ryan now. But
no, look it up.
Ryan Goard.
It doesn't matter.
Not Ryan Gore.
But no, the thing
Makes
about
perfect sense.
The thing about Johnson's movie is that it was trying to be so hard. It was trying so hard to be different that there was almost no fan service or any sort of like reference to the original trilogy or any sort of connection to the original trilogy. It felt very, very dull. I hated the Rose and Finn storyline with a fucking passion. It actually,
I can agree with that.
Because I went to Best Buy one time and I went to buy the movie because it just came out, and I started thinking of that Rose and Finn storyline. I put the fucking movie back.
All right. About The Last Jedi, there's something that nobody's talked about. is, I don't know, maybe this bothers me more than other people because I'm like a big
Okay.
I look into like guns and military tactics and stuff. The military the military the military stuff in The Last Jedi was so supremely stupid. It was like more stupid, all of it throughout the whole film.
Which part?
Any military stuff that happens in, well, almost all of it. Like for example, in the beginning, they're using like World War II style bombers where they like drop bombs, which doesn't make any sense because it's in space.
But
You'd have to
at the
launch
same time, you gotta
When you-
consider the fact that these rebels now have no supplies whatsoever, so they're down to to using these things.
No, but
No, I know, but, like-
no, he's talking about the impractical sense
Oh,
that they're
you mean-
But the
dropping
biggest
bombs
thing-
in fucking space.
Oh,
It
well,
wouldn't go down. It would just float away. Or
Yeah, it would just float away. It does. There's no gravity, so that doesn't make any sense.
And they
Dude,
were
also-
and they were far away from the atmosphere of the whatever planet they were hovering.
Yeah.
So like and the destroyer,
But I guess-
whatever it's
but then I
called, the
guess
ship
it's
doesn't have an anti-gravity, like it doesn't have a
Okay.
gravity field.
Well, here's the thing: they could have circumvented this. You know those bombers, those Wily mongers they have in the
Yeah,
old.
those are like
They shoot
torpedo bombs.
energy balls that are propulsioned downward. They don't drop. They could have circumvented this by using those, but no, we gotta use these World War II bombs.
Yeah, you gotta use like World War II style bombs, and even like in the clone. Let's say they're using like outdated technology. It's like 30 years old, which would be the equivalent of
Clone
us
Wars
using
uses
like
the same technology.
Clone Wars. If you go like 30 years ago today, that's like us using Vietnam era shit, right? Which is like ancient, and no military would ever use that. And if you do that like in the Star Wars universe, they'd be using like Clone Wars shit, not like whatever the hell they were using.
Well,
So-
but then again, that goes back to my point earlier and stuff, where they are cut. The last movie, they were basically cut off from what they had been funding from and stuff. They literally are running out of. They literally like run out of resources. They're using all that they have. to
Yeah, I
fight
get
against.
that. I get that.
It's fine. It's just a
But wait,
little.
why would they
Right,
design
right.
that if it's for
But-
space?
But yeah, so
Anyway.
we kind of had a bit of a Last Jedi topic in the very first podcast, so I'd
Oh, we
rather
did?
move on from
Okay.
that. To be
We
One more
really
thing,
got
though.
onto it, but the
One
thing
more
is
thing.
that we have to talk about episode 8 in order to talk
Yeah.
about episode
Are none of
9.
you going to talk about that really atrocious editing where they had her pull her lightsaber out twice in the very
Oh
beginning?
yeah, they did.
yeah.
Yeah, then I guess.
All right, going past that, I'll just say
wait,
one
wait,
more.
wait. In episode 8 or episode 9?
No, in
The 9
trailer.
trailer.
The
Oh, the
I
9
did
trailer?
notice
On
that
the
too.
They
Yeah,
did?
there was a weird moment where it looked like she pulled out her lightsaber twice. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think
Huh.
that might have been just like a trailer edit issue, which of course there are always those on occasion.
Well, I mean,
so-
regardless, there's edit problems in movies. That's
Yeah.
fair.
So, so before I kind of move on, what was the last thing you were going to say?
All right, the last thing I was gonna say, the bomb thing that's more of like a nitpick. All right, if I'm gonna say like
All right.
probably the biggest military thing is, so the whole film, like the entire film, the rebel fleet's being chased by the New Order fleet,
Yes.
because their like hyperdrive is knocked out or whatever.
Well, no,
Um,
it's that they can't use it because the thing is that they're tracking that the First Order has the ability to track them through light speed, and if they were to jump again, then that means they would have been cornered and they would run out of fuel. And then
Right.
they're fucked. So
All right, I guess my question is, why doesn't the First Order just light speed to their position because they're chasing them?
Don't bring logic.
That's a bit of a stretch. That's a bit of a stretch. It's like
I guess that's just my biggest question when watching the film. I'm just thinking about that the whole time.
I don't know.
So, in my opinion, here's the thing about episode 8 is that, like, okay, I probably talked about it a little bit in episode 1, the first podcast, but here's what I'll talk about with episode 8 a little bit more in depth. I'll talk about the things I liked. I'll talk about the things I didn't like. And the things I didn't like, I fucking hated.
Okay.
And so, okay, I'll start off with the good things. Good thing
Fine.
is, I like the fucking font where it's all black and red. I like that.
Yeah, because it tells you like, yeah, this is darkish.
It felt like it was going to be dark again. I felt like it was basically to be the new trilogy's equivalent to Empire. Another thing I liked, I really loved the scene with the Imperial Red Guards.
Yes, that
And-
was
Yes.
probably one of the most beautifully choreographed fight scenes of that year.
And I love the contrast
sure.
of the black and the red and the blue lightsaber clashing, and I loved it. I thought the weapon designs for the Red Guards, because they were all unique. You could say like, oh, it was the chain guy, or no, it was the staff guy. Oh no, it was the dual sword guy. It was just felt very unique, and it felt a whole lot more unique to themselves compared to the Red Guards that were last seen in the original.
And that lightsaber toss when Rey just tosses the lightsaber, it's like.
I do like, on a more narrative aspect, I do like the slowed down nature of trying to get Luke back and trying to talk to Luke and kind of reestablish his character in this new setting, along with Rey. And humanizing him a little bit. I liked Rey's and Kylo's struggle between each other. I'm interested to find out what that's meaning, because they're somehow connected, and I really want to see that and how that's going to play out. I really liked how emotional it got at one point, where she almost went to the dark side because of that. Because Kylo is probably the most relatable dark side person that I've seen so far. If you discount the prequels, because that's the whole point. But like, well, I mean, like the prequels build up what Darth Vader was about, but with Kylo, he's kind of, you see him.
He's a kid.
Well, he's a kid, but I mean, like, what I mean is that you see the struggle pretty much the moment you first see him, and he's already in knee deep anyway. Other things I liked the very different worlds. I liked the ice world that had like red underneath. I thought that was really beautiful. I liked the simplicity of the island that Luke was on. I liked that. I liked the Acto. I liked the Jedi, sacred ancient Jedi text. I really liked that. Kind of sets the universe a little bit more. And the opening sequence is, as much as Matt Wong just talked about how impractical it was a heart-wrenching part where Rose's sister
sacrifices herself,
Yeah.
as well as just like overall, like the whole, like the ships flying everywhere and stuff like that. It's like we've missed a pretty good space battle for a really long time.
And as long as there's other things I bet I could probably remember that were pretty good, but another one is the performances were good. Even if you don't like certain characters, the performances, at least they got them down right. I like Daisy Ridley's Rey. I like Finn. I've always liked Finn.
He's the man.
And I like Poe. And I like Kylo.
Truly. Yeah, and but I think truly the spotlight for that movie all belonged to Mark Hamill. Like,
and I liked Luke. I do like Luke. Okay. Yeah. Now here's the things that I fucking hate.
All right. I'm interested.
I hate how slow the Rose and Finn storyline gets.
Yes.
It slows down to a crawl every time it fucking enters the screen. I want to just be like, leave.
I think the rest of us agree on that.
Okay. Now the world, the casino world. Okay, the casino world. Cool idea. That is not a casino world. That is a casino spot. That is a Native American fucking reservation in fucking Oregon. Okay, we even have bigger than that. So shut the fuck up about being a casino world. Okay, all right.
That's Vegas
now, and Las Vegas.
Disclaimer though, we are not racist against Native Americans, but
that has nothing to do with it.
Why would anybody imply that?
I didn't imply that. But anyway. Well, it's mainly Native Americans that own casinos. They started the whole damn thing. They were like, white men take money. We take their money.
Now we're delving
now we're getting into this.
I'm white.
No one's here Pandora's box.
I'm not being racist. Okay. Anyway. Besides, it was like a fucking joke that Robin Williams made, so...
Any racist would say.
Fuck. Now, back on to Star Wars. So, as much as I
Yeah,
love
so-
Mark Hamill and his Luke in this one, there's also a part of me that it didn't fit. It didn't fit his character to be this curmudgeon. It just didn't make sense. I understand being a little bit more reserved. I liked that part, but him being so Jedi needs to end type thing, I'm like going, dude, you fought for 10 years just trying to get the Jedi back. Why would you just
but-
Yeah,
that
honestly.
dissipate so
Well, but
easily
the
because of
years-
one fucking kid? Granted, it's a family
But-
member, but
Yeah, that's the one
It's like
thing.
you're
that-
trying
yeah,
to throw
but there
that
was so
on
many
mud
other
now.
Jedi out there that need help, and the moment I feel like what should have happened is that he should have had that curmudgeon feel, but the moment he saw Rey and being this, he should have been a little bit more open-minded, a whole lot sooner, going like, I sense good in you, and being completely closed off from the Force doesn't make any sense to me because he was trying so hard to learn the Force in the original trilogy. And he gets taught by one of the best masters in the Star Wars canon. And then he just closes it off?
Well, but then again, this is kind of what goes into the sort of idea that the theme that plays in the movie, and the fact is that a lot of people, of course, glorify, that's the thing, both in Episode 7 and in Episode 8, the idea is that
They
Luke
glorify
is
the
a
Jedi.
glorified hero. But and so is Han Solo in Episode 7 and stuff, as well as everyone is a pretty much glorified hero. But then when you peel back the layers, they're still humans at the end of the day. They're not mystical gods, which is something that is improved.
I know.
both in
It's just it just felt like
it
felt
like I know
Luke-
I know it's shocking. I know I can understand totally because it is a shocking thing because we do love this character very much. We do want to see him save the day, but at the same time, we have to understand that even as a human, there are limitations to what he can do, and of course, the fact that he is he's also someone that has we do know for a fact that even in the original trilogy, he was already on a bit of a dark path himself. We knew that there was
okay, well,
trouble growing up in him.
either
and
it
all that.
is, and I know, and that's probably what they tried to play off of from Episode 6 or the third one, just Return. That they played off of because he was darker in Return, and they probably played off of that a little bit in Last Jedi, where he got a little bit darker, especially when he started talking about that he nearly killed Kylo, and then he lies about it, which that doesn't fit. Him lying about it just doesn't make sense.
It does make sense to me for a reason, because I think he could see in Rey and stuff that she sees him as a glorified mentor and stuff, and then
He wasn't teaching her anything.
probably the idea is that maybe if he told her what he actually did and stuff like that, it would who would you want to say oh hey, I was about to kill my nephew and stuff. I don't think that's really the best way to go off.
That's fair. But okay, so and some other things I'll skip that part. That was a little bit more of a division.
That's one that's up for debate for sure.
Because I like Mark Hamill. His acting in this one was way better than the original trilogy by any side of by a landslide. And but skipping on, I'm going to skip to the end. Spoilers if you haven't seen Last Jedi, but I feel like everyone and their fucking mother did. And the ending, I feel like made the audience feel stupid, because it made me feel stupid a little bit, and I'll explain it. It's not the actual very ending. It's the part where Luke comes in as a Force ghost, and he pulls out the blue lightsaber, which we just saw 5 minutes prior get destroyed.
But
he could have
had his own wand.
No, he
and stuff,
didn't.
so. But he could. But I guess the idea is that. But how would
it was the exact same lightsaber, though? There was no way he could have had it because he lost it. He even threw it away.
But to Kylo, perhaps he wasn't when you look at Kylo, just of how he was enraged. He was ready to kill Luke, and without a second thought. He was emotionally distressed, so he wouldn't have thought.
No, I'm not talking about Kylo. I'm not talking about Kylo. It made us feel stupid because it kind of just it gave away the twist entirely. because like I saw the blue lightsaber and I sat there going, wasn't that fucking thing just destroyed? Why wouldn't he have the green one? Or any other one? That's the exact same one that Rey destroyed, and the one he even threw away in the very beginning of the movie. Why would he have that one? So I feel like he's not really there, is he? And the moment that he sticks the lightsaber into Luke's chest, I'm like going, that's what I thought. And it just makes the audience feel stupid. And
okay, I can see where you're getting there. I can agree with that too.
I
But
like Kylo's snap.
Watching, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, but like, I like Kylo's snap, but I
Breathe.
what the fuck about
You okay
Snoke,
there?
dude?
Oh,
I
okay,
fucking
well,
hate that they wasted Snoke. Snoke seemed like he was going to be.
We'll
he
see
was
what
the
happens.
he's dead.
Well, but yeah, I mean, he's dead, but is he
Dead, Jim.
though? Because I mean, the fact that with what we'll probably discuss with the episode 9 teaser, as it kind of shows, is like, is he really gonna be dead though? How do we know for sure?
Well, I know. Granted, we won't really know, but here's the thing: is that they wasted him so much. They wasted him. They
made him seem like
him.
They did.
They turned him into a side villain, and it pissed me off because when they showed him in Force Awakens, he looked awesome. He looked gigantic. He looked like he was some big force.
But then again, I think you also brings up another point that also the original trilogy kind of did, is that Palpatine had the same treatment in the original trilogy, that he was also set up as this big villain and stuff, and yet
Except when they killed him, it was the end of the trilogy.
Yeah,
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's really. I think it was.
Palpatine's a little bit different because the thing is that they didn't mention the Emperor until the second one, where they brought up the Emperor, and then they showed the Emperor, and the only reason the Emperor was brought up is because Skywalker was involved. The name Skywalker. Now, but Vader has been pretty much the forefront of the villain for most of them until Return. And Emperor Palpatine showed up being the Emperor that he was. With Snoke, he's the supreme leader, which is basically Emperor Palpatine all over again. But the thing is that he's wasted. He just he gets killed in such a very
easy way.
The way he gets killed was pretty awesome, but I do.
It was awesome. It came as a shock, but then like the thing is that okay, I'll show you my reactions. It's like okay, twist the lightsaber. Oh, is he gonna do it? Oh, is he gonna save Rey? Kill Snoke. Whoa, that's awesome! And then immediately, like 2 seconds later, I'm like going, "Fuck, they killed him," and I know nothing about him.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but we'll see, like, kind of what goes on with it, because I feel that, like, I don't feel that's the end of him, to be honest.
It probably isn't, because people are pissed off about the fact that they have nothing about him. But the thing is that like they could have at least had a few more scenes showing Snoke and Kylo talking, and where he could have brought up a little bit about his past, like going like, "Oh, I found you when you were." When I saw into the future that when Anakin was still Darth Vader and blah blah blah. I would have liked that scene, that piece of dialogue, which would have been perfectly fine to replace with some of Rose and Finn. And so, and then another thing I disliked was that it tried so hard to be different that it ended up being boring.
But then that's kind of a bit of a like there is a bit of a double-edged sword with that and stuff, because that was the biggest complaint that everyone had about Episode 7, is that it was way too similar to A New Hope, which again, yeah, that was the point. It was trying to get people on board, but at the same time, it felt like a retrend. And so this movie did try to actually do something different, and for the most part, a lot of people definitely took it in a very negative way, and some of it understandable. I still
think it's fun seeing that the critics gave it like 92%, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then you look at the audience score, it's down to like fucking 40.
Well, to be honest, some of the
some of it was just review bombing. It was. Just
I don't
bombing.
like to rely on site for either side whatsoever and all that. Like again, like I said, Hellboy is actually it's not as bad as what the critics or audiences are saying and stuff.
Here's the
They're
thing,
not going to use
Mega.
Rotten Tomatoes anymore.
Yeah.
Mega, I gotta tell you. All right. I don't know. Like this is. I mean, you talk about The Last Jedi and stuff, and the thing I want to say about The Last Jedi is, it's easy to talk shit about it because everybody's talking shit about it. And there's lots of things to say about it, and it's really easy to bandwagon like that. But I really respect that you will go and dispute a popular opinion because and that's what having your own opinion is all about. Instead of just seeing what everybody else is saying and being like, I agree with that, I agree with that, I agree with that, this is shit. Or even coming up with your own reason why it's shit. That's a safe opinion, right? There's safe opinions and there's unsafe opinions, and I respect unsafe ones a lot more because people be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because people, like, they get, like, endorphins when people agree with them, and everybody's like, oh yeah, that sucked, I agree. And then they're like, I feel good about myself.
Reach was never good.
Yeah, unsafe opinion, Reach was never good. Unsafe opinion, Halo 5 is not that bad, etc.
Depends.
It's not
That's
bad
just
when
an
it comes down to
example.
multiplayer, but I mean, like,
Let's not go into Halo 5 right
Yeah.
now.
But-
it was just
Alright,
an
but
example.
But regardless, but anyway, just kind of in conclusion, I felt like Last Jedi, it was good when I first watched it. And then as time went on and I started reflecting back to it on how much I actually didn't want to go see it again and how much I actually didn't want to buy it on Blu-ray. And I buy Star Wars movies like it's candy.
in it.
And Last Jedi, it just felt so boring. It just felt so wasted. Oh, and also the fact that the Rose and Finn storyline, by the way,
Oh yeah,
not only was it just boring as shit, it was completely useless.
it was.
Like they got caught anyway. It honestly,
I can
them
totally
going about their own route, honestly made everything worse.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that for sure.
And
Try
it
and
just felt like
have a
everyone
power
was
of
just
looking-
like it just felt like everyone was like not smart. It just felt like everyone was just dumb. I'm like going, this it feels like a 16-year-old wrote this.
Well, I think well, if that's your concern, I'm actually so 9 right and stuff, which I'll get to in a minute and stuff, because there's someone among there that I'm forward to it all for the movie and stuff. But let's talk a bit about episode 9, just briefly, obviously, before we move on to other stuff.
With episode 9 teasers, I watched it, and for people that haven't seen it yet, spoiler, I guess, but
Yeah.
when Luke is monologuing and he says like they're not really all gone,
Which
and
was his
then
line
and then it
from
cuts
episode 8.
yeah, and then it cuts to black after showing the Death Star, the broken down Death Star. I don't know which one. I'm pretty sure
We
it's the
don't know
second
which one.
I'm pretty sure it's the
Yeah.
second one because the planet looks green and wet and misty, so I'm thinking it's Endor.
Ewoks.
Yeah, Ewoks. The Emperor starts laughing, and I was bouncing up and down on how fucking awesome that would be because
Goosebumps.
he's very powerful with the Force, which means that he can be part of the Force.
Exactly.
That's
Which
terrifying to me.
Which, in a way, that is actually being played around with in the very early drafts for The Last Jedi, which were released
actually-
sometime after the movie.
Actually,
there
the
was,
expanded actually the expanded universe even went farther than that. Like some of the novelizations after Return was out, like in the mid '80s, late '80s, they actually talked about Emperor Palpatine taking becoming one with the Force and actually taking over clones and bodies and stuff. So
Oh yeah, I remember reading something about that.
So it's actually not new, but I'm kind of happy that J.J. Abrams is taking inspiration from that. The thing about J.J. Abrams is that yes, he's playing his movies safe, but he's just a lover of Star Wars.
He is,
and he just wants the fan service in that fucking movie, that movie trailer. Oh my god, oh my god, I love it, and that was kind of something that I didn't. You just never saw in Ryan's movie. Ryan, I don't care. Johnson's movie is that it just didn't. It felt so weird. It just felt
I think it was because I think the idea is that with Rian and stuff is that he wanted to make his. That's kind of the thing with each Star Wars movie is that each one's directed by a different person, with the exception now of Episode 9.
Episode 9 was supposed to be made by Colin Trevorrow, but he dropped out.
Yeah, but I guess the idea is that every artist kind of wants to leave their own imprint somehow in some of the movies. Like this can be seen in a lot of other trilogies, such as I would even say the Thor trilogy. I will say, since it's had 3 different people, and then of course Taika changed it hugely with his. The second movie really sucked a dick for sure.
Sucked a dick the size of Canada.
But yeah, like
what you saying about Canada, bro?
Shit's about to get real in here.
The idea with most directors is that when you're part of a franchise, you do, even though you want to make sure that the stories are consistent, in a sense, you also kind of want to do your own mark on it.
And I get it, and I like that. I respect what Johnson was trying to do. Is just I don't feel like it worked out in the end, because ultimately he didn't win a whole lot of people over, and honestly some people are hating him now, even though he's made really good movies and he's made really good episodes of Breaking Bad.
I don't hate people who are behind things that I don't particularly like, because at first that's my opinion, and second that has nothing to do with them personally. Like these guys who like go after like sports people who like fucking.
The Star Wars community is toxic as shit.
The Star Wars community is like, and the Halo community like go hand in hand, man. We are talking.
Well, now even
they don't go hand in hand; they go dick and dick.
Yeah, they go dick and dick. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I would like when I saw this teaser and stuff. I literally fucking screamed out loud because I was so. Oh my god, I was so like excited as well as just goosebumps at the very end with that thing and stuff. The one thing I do hope in this movie is that even though it's obviously it needs to kind of get some people back on board and all that, which I have a feeling it will, especially with some of the things they featured. I hope it doesn't retcon everything The Last Jedi had, because if they do that, that is going to be probably the fucking writing I've ever.
I forgot. Now that you brought that up, I forgot that. I'm sorry, but like I forgot that. That one of the things that I did like about Last Jedi, that I'm a little bit divided on, but I'm not entirely. I'm kind of more on like it was a good thing to do. Rey wasn't connected to anybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was interesting. But then at the same time,
it kind of felt like she was a new Anakin in a way, because Anakin didn't have a father. She had a mother, but he didn't have a father, and I kind of liked the thought that Rey was connected to.
Though people are kind of theorizing with this new. But who the hell knows? We will have no clue until we see the movie. And I agree.
And I do have a question for everybody. Maybe it's just me, and even if you're not a fan of the newer Star Wars stuff made by Disney or not, let's just kind of take into account the subtitles for all of the movies that we've had, of the numbered line ones.
All right.
What is your guys' opinion about the subtitle being called The Rise of Skywalker? Does it feel a bit clunky to me, or a bit tacky? Or am I alone on this?
I mean, at first, when I first read it, I was going like, okay. But at the same time, I thought it was a very interesting title. At the same time, that can mean many things. That's kind of how the thing about all the new the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
I swear to God, if Rey was Luke's daughter, I'm gonna be.
I'm probably not gonna be very happy if Rey is related to Luke in some way. I would have been happier if she was related to Obi-Wan in some way.
Let me ask you this:
but then that's the
Rise of the Skywalker.
Yeah, but that's the exact thing. Yeah, A-Star is on the right point that I was about to get to. Is that the thing with all the sequel movies is that each title is always talking about someone specific, but you never know who it is. That's the one
That's
thing.
true.
That because
Maybe
that was the big trick in when the Force Awakens, the title was revealed and stuff. No one knew what that meant, and of course there was also the tease that showed Finn holding a lightsaber. Everyone thought he was going to be a Jedi. The marketing made it seem like he was going to be the Jedi, and then all of a sudden you had Rey, Force awoke in her, and that she was revealed to be the one who was going to become a Jedi and stuff. So that's where it is. And then because the same thing with The Last Jedi is that who is it talking about? Is it talking? Is it plural? Is it singular? Is it talking about?
I feel like The Last Jedi was a little bit more like it could have been a euphemism for anything else. It could have been. I'm pretty sure it was mainly about Luke being the last Jedi, but it also could have been. If you take the ending to an account, now Rey's the last Jedi. You also talk about the fact that the last Jedi is. No, I feel like those are the only two I could think of.
Essentially that's the idea, is that each title seems to focus on a particular element or something that you never really know.
Maybe they should have a future element.
There seems to, it's like each title is very cleverly done to kind of hide something and all that. So even though
I feel
a lot
like
of
every
people
single
seem
one
to
of them
be,
did.
and so I believe that's
Maybe,
the same
One
idea
that was renamed
here.
in the 80s.
Like I'm highly expecting, because one of the other things in this movie that's also going to be introduced, like, so first of all, we have Billy D. Williamson coming back as Lando, which is a fucking plus if I ever seen one and all that. But also the fact that
I'm going to advocate hashtag Billy D. Williams for Harvey Dent again.
Oh, wait, what are you guys' thoughts about how what was it called? The Empire Strikes Back being re-released or renamed as A New Hope.
Wait, what?
What?
Why? On April 10th, 1981, roughly a year after The Empire Strikes Back was released in theaters, 20th Century Fox and Lucasfilm re-released the original film too. Only this time, George Lucas decided to add episode I forgot, I can't read Roman numerals, IV and A New
4.
Hope to the famous opening crawl.
It was 4.
What?
IV is 4.
Oh, 4.
IV is 4. Yeah.
The thing is that George Lucas pretty much had the prequels all planned out by the time he finished Empire.
And Jar Jar.
Yeah, and Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Duh.
The thing about George Lucas is like he has a hard on for the whole like toy market and ridiculous characters.
I think Disney does.
Well, Disney does too, but this was the thing is that Return of the Jedi was apparently made with tiny little teddy bears.
Well, yeah, I know.
Because it was the idea that
it was supposed to be Wookiees.
So fucking well, but then that's also the thing, is that it was because the reason they went for so many cutesy stuff was because of how dark The Empire Strikes Back.
It was also a smashing hit. Why wouldn't they?
Well, actually, Empire. I read that Empire actually took a lot of flack for being so dark. It actually divided audiences back in 1980, and nobody really started to go back and love it until after Return was out.
What does that remind you of?
Halo 2.
Well, it does too, but it's like
everyone hated Halo 2 until fucking Halo 3 came out.
No, like in a way, this also kind of brings up sort of an interesting thing and stuff. Where I remember it was a meme that I want on stuff, is that where like people like they compare like stuff where they say like, oh, how the Last Jedi is being viewed today and all that, and then he says this is what would happen if Empire Strikes Back were to be released today and stuff, and that it's the same freaking thing as the Last Jedi stuff.
Yeah, just like how Rogue One was basically Halo Reach.
It was basically Halo Reach, yeah.
It was basically Halo Reach.
I still yet to understand why.
Well, everyone fucking died.
The plot and the characters.
Everyone died in Kill Bill.
Well, no, it's not about everyone dying.
The way that everyone died. Yeah.
I have no idea. I guess I
Actually,
just.
they all died in pretty much exactly the same way, dude. It's funny.
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess I didn't pay attention to Reach's campaign. I don't know.
They had similar characters with different tropes, and their main goal was to go ahead and secure something that could be taken away.
But June didn't die. The Asian guy died.
Okay, no one cares about June. June just disappeared and
I
died in a
do.
river somewhere.
I care about
No,
June.
June
Why?
created the Spartan 4 program.
Yeah, you did.
See, I care about
Yeah.
June. Fuck you, Alistair.
Oh yeah, he has relevance to plot.
But yeah,
But-
so
Yo, man,
Kinda-
Carter, Noble One.
Well, okay. Before we expand on it, I want to ask everyone else, like, what did
Mhm.
okay, Grumpy, what did you think of the subtitle of the Rise of Skywalker?
oh yeah,
I if it's implying what I think it is, I'm not gonna like it. But I don't know. It's a good title. The only problem I have is this is not the title itself, but that it's a 3D text next to a 2D text.
That's what
my
bothered
fault.
me
Yeah.
too. Wait! I just realized it's called Star Wars ROTS W.
oh for
no.
fuck's sakes!
Oh god.
Yeah, ROTS
God damn it.
W. ROTS wood.
Matt, what do you think about the Rise of Skywalker?
I don't care. It's a title.
Well, the thing is that some titles just like they can ring true and they sound good, like The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens. The Rise of Skywalker just feels so, in my opinion, it feels kind of clunky.
Wait! If they're bringing back what's his face from the dead after being killed off by Vader, what if there's another Skywalker coming back from the dead as well?
Actually, that's actually my theory, is that since it's going to be called, it's not the Skywalker, it's the Rise of Skywalker. I'm thinking that it's going to reference all of them.
Ooh.
I feel like
we know Mark
Anakin's going to be showed off. Luke's definitely in it, and
Yeah, Luke's definitely.
hate you.
but like I wouldn't mind seeing
my
Anakin again for
brother.
the sake of like
Would-
for the
But would it
maturity.
be Hayden Christensen? That's the one.
Well, they
thing.
can't have the Sebastian guy that played him back in '80s.
No,
'cause he's
of
dead.
course not. But then here's the other thing so much fucking hate was for Hayden Christensen.
Well,
and
because he
stuff.
had a
I
terrible
mean-
fucking writer called George Lucas.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, is that many don't seem to realize that.
I kind of want
Yeah.
Anakin to just walk in, kind of like, "Hello, Ray."
Sup, bitch.
Anakin? I hate sand. No, wait, no, this is even better. You know that she was on a sand planet, right? Okay.
Yes.
Pops up behind her going like, "Hello, what the fuck is this?"
Which, by the way, speaking of the sand planet, that makes me wonder, where the hell are they doing that? Are they back on Jakku, where like the story started, or
It's
are they on
definitely not.
Tatooine?
It's definitely not Tatooine.
We have to go back to Jakku.
But that would be interesting if it did take place in Jakku.
But anyway,
It's like,
Tommy,
back
what did
where
you
it
think of
started.
the Rise of Skywalker? Clunky, tacky, good, decent.
It sounds to me like it's a red herring.
Oh, well, of course.
Like- It's a Skywalker, and obviously, because I've never really watched Star Wars, it does honestly sound like,
yeah, that's
Rise-
right. You're the fucking
like-
idiot.
Wrong person.
You're
to ask.
you're speaking of red
I'm the
herring.
Star Wars
You're the red
virgin.
hen here that has never watched fucking
Very much.
Star Wars.
Which is funny because everyone in my family is a massive Star Wars fan.
How did you not grow up
Include-
with it?
Oh.
And you play Halo? Halo's like a fucking like it's the Kleenex to the lotion to hate Star Wars.
It's like yeah, I'm not kidding. Even my nana's a Star Wars fan, and it's like,
Well, of
oh
course
God.
she was like what, fucking 15, 20 when the fucking first one came out.
Yeah, it sounds to me like
My mom was 10.
it sounds like a red herring. Like it's trying to. It's like obviously Rise of Skywalker. And what's the first thing you think of when you hear Skywalker? Like Luke Skywalker, obviously.
Thank Jesus, what? Get it, Sky talking. Get it? Yeah, okay. A-Star, what did you think of the title, The Rise of Skywalker?
To be honest, I'm kind of more in line with what Matt said. I think it's just a title. If it is something that actually alludes to anything like every one of them have been, then good. I mean, it only makes sense that they would name it that way. But if they're just doing it for the sake of, oh, it sounds cool, then I don't know. That's just kind of what you expect from Hollywood at that point.
That's fair.
Yeah, because at least each of the sequel movies have had meanings for each of them. Like, it made sense. Like, they
But I'm still very indifferent about it. I don't
Like,
really
if
care.
it doesn't have any hidden meaning.
I'm not trying to like seem like
it sounds cool. Then
I'm not.
Yeah, it's clunky as hell.
I'm not trying to make it like start a debate on it. It's more of like I want to see if I'm alone on this, because I honestly think that it's just a little clunky. But anyway,
no, it does sound.
It just feels a bit too specific. But then again, now maybe. Well, it is the end of the
Probably
Skywalker
for a
saga.
reason, like I said.
Might surprise you.
It is the end of the Skywalker saga, so I mean, like, it's pretty much the end.
Which
Siphonal, what do you
quite
think?
Interesting.
Just to me, it's just a title. I really don't care, in my opinion, because the Star Wars movies, I'm kind of like with Tommy here. I didn't really like Star Wars that much. I was like just in the mid between it. I liked it, but I wasn't gonna go crazy over it like most people.
Are we gonna move on to new topics soon?
Yes.
One last
I feel like
thing.
we're gonna get crucified.
One last thing, just a yay or nay type of thing. Is anyone happy that the fact that Star Wars is actually taking a few years off after Episode 9?
Yay.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just like with creative productions, like the more time you have, the better it turns out. So I just say like take as much time as they need to like really put everything together. So
Actually come up with a plan, JJ.
So, but anyway, I actually have something else in mind. A-Star, you kind of missed out on something that was really funny, because I was trying to read out like really funny reviews with, and I couldn't do it because I was laughing so goddamn hard. And so I had Matt Wong do it, and if anyone, like, people that have watched the last podcast will get it, because it was super fucking funny, because I found a Steam review that was super funny. It was long. It was easy. It wasn't easy. So I'm going to send one to Matt Wong right now.
Oh, God.
And I want him to read it, because...
Okay, first, what's the context of this one?
It's Kleenex.
Kleenex.
Oh, no.
All right,
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I can't go.
That word can just go any possible way.
All right, so
Oh no,
Matt, I'm sending it over to you right now, and I would like you to read this son of a bitch.
all right.
All right, you should have gotten it now. All right, so
I got it.
everyone has to be quiet. Everyone has to be quiet when he's reading.
Everyone.
And don't read
All
it
right.
first.
Don't read it first. Yeah, I got you. Kleenex, facial tissue, white. A mother's struggle, December 8th,
Wait.
2000.
Look at the price on that.
Wait, $31.44.
Look at the original price.
$72. It's on sale. What the fuck?
$72 for a fucking Kleenex? Why?
This is the most expensive Kleenex of all time. Well, you know, it's now thicker and more absorbent.
thick.
Thick.
Is it thick with two C's?
Wait, first of all, when was this made and where was this made?
December 8th, 2013.
What the fuck?
All right,
Were they high up their ass?
Okay. Well,
Oh, it's a
read it.
pack of
I don't want to.
36. It's a
Oh,
pack
it's
of
pack of
36.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
that
I
makes
thought
a
it
little
was
bit more
like
sense.
just one.
Okay, $72 is a lot for fucking paper.
Paper.
Yeah, it's like you're
Must be
giving
made.
paper for
Must be
paper.
made from like
That
diamonds.
Japanese shit.
All right. Anyway, go ahead, Matt.
read
Wong.
it.
Okay. I want to start this off by thanking Kleenex for selling these in 36 packs. I put it on subscription, and if they want to start selling a 72 pack, sign me up. I have 3 reasons for needing this much Kleenex, and their names are Liam, Samuel, and Hank. This is how it goes in this house. First, the Kleenex disappears, then the toilet paper, then they go for fabrics, and you don't want it to get there. Unless you're ready to invest in a 5-gallon drum of Febreze. This used to be a good Christian home. But it's not about moral judgment anymore. I'm way beyond that. I'm in survival mode. If I don't supply absorbent paper products, I'm going to find my dish towels hidden in the basement, stiff as aluminum. The other day, I almost cut my hand on a sock. I'm sorry to speak so frankly, but with 3 teenage boys, a woman has to be practical.
Oh, it's a woman!
No, it's a woman reading this?
Yeah, it's a woman reading this.
What?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta adjust your voice, Matt.
Nah, I'm not going to do that. The funny part is, they think they're being sneaky with their 45-minute showers and their sudden need for privacy, as if I'm going to walk in on them journaling. They slink around the house like unfixed cats while I try to announce my location at all times. No one needs to ask me to knock anymore. I knock on the walls, I practically wear a cowbell. I'm not looking to catch anyone by surprise, believe me. I'm just trying to get through this. The other day, my husband was watching me unload the groceries and he asked me, all sweetness and light, honey, what are you doing with all that Kleenex? I about knocked him off his chair.
What?
Oh. No. Okay, go on. Continue.
That's
No, that was it.
That's it.
Wait, that's it? That's it?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I can't tell where this is going from the beginning.
That was 2013, right?
2013.
As stiff
yeah.
as a lunar. As stiff as a
Is there a
lunar.
follow-up?
So, Matt, do you just
Or
find
cat
these?
bell.
Like,
I-
when you're, what,
I
how do
did,
you
yeah.
find these? How do
Oh
you
wait, no,
find
there.
these?
Oh wait, no, never mind. I thought there was an ending. Okay, I got one.
Oh.
Oh god,
Oh,
I got one. Umbra automatic soap dispenser, nickel.
Oh no.
2 out of 5 stars. It appears like it will meet our needs well.
Okay.
Delivery date in time is expected. Overall, I'm very happy with it. Do not think that you necessarily need to buy a very expensive product. This price has the same effect, which is definitely a product worth buying. Good bargain, works well, and with probably continue to do so with what it says. That was garbage. That was awful.
Was there a joke in there?
Yeah, I don't know. I type in funny Amazon reviews and suddenly that's the first image that pops up.
All right. Well, how about this? Maybe while you're looking at that, I can actually continue other things that we were kind of left off at the end of the last podcast I was scrolling through a lot of our Reddits. We talked about in the last podcast there was this subject called the Emu War, which I had no fucking clue what that was. I thought it was a joke, and I thought that this subreddit that I originally found it on was like, well, what the hell is it? And so after doing some research since then, I came across this article that basically goes into the Great Emu War. And literally, that's the title of this. It says, The Great Emu War, in which some large flightless birds unwittingly foiled the Australian army. So,
What?
So I'm going to...
How long is it?
It's not that long, and I'm going to sum as best as I can. I'm only reading the entertaining parts, not the bullshit in between. Okay. Okay. So, in the years following World War I, the Australian government struggled to find things for their veterans to do upon returning home. From 1915, a soldier settlement scheme began rolled across all of the states. So, technically, they call it states too in Australia and stuff. Eventually, it saw around 5,030 ex-soldiers given plots of land which they were to convert into working farms and primarily cultivate with wheat and sheep. By 1920, the government had purchased at least 90,000 hectares, I guess that's their way of saying acres, for the veterans, but they still needed more and started placing the remaining soldiers in some pretty marginal areas in Western Australia. This made things tough because for setting up a prosperous farm with little to no experience in a good area that's no small feat. I'll skip this part and stuff to get to the good part. All right. And then there was the issue of tens of thousands of West Australian emus that their land back. Emus have been a protective native species up until 1922, when they made such a nuisance of themselves on wheat farms, flattening crops, eating them down to a stub, and they were officially reclassified as vermin. By late 1932, there were 20,000 of them wreaking havoc on marginal wheat farms on the beleaguered veterans. And even these men, trained riflemen who felled thousands of the mighty birds, could not put a dent in their numbers. Bounties were put on their beaks, but to no avail. The veterans couldn't get access to the ammunition they needed, so they called on the Australian military to take action. It was a pretty ludicrous idea, sending the army to cull 20,000 flightless bird giants. It could have been a propaganda exercise to show that the government was doing something to support their struggling war heroes. So, led by Major G.P.W. Meredith of the 7th Cavalry Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery, I can't speak because I'm laughing on the inside. The army set out on November the 2nd, 1932, determined to gun down a group of 50 birds in the district of Campion. They moved in formation behind the birds, and the birds answered their organized assault with inspired chaos, scattering themselves in all directions to minimize casualties. But despite their best efforts, the first blood in the bizarre emu had thus been drawn by the Australian army. 2 days later, the emus had their revenge. Concealed gunners sighted 1,000 emus nearby and waited patiently for them to make their way over. At point-blank range, the soldiers opened fire, felling 10 to 12 emus, but the machine guns jammed. The emus scattered once again, having delivered 1,000 of their fluffy hides into the hands of the soldiers before snatching almost all of them back just as quickly. The media had a field day quoting one of the recruits saying this. So this is an actual quote from a soldier from that day. It says, "The emus have proved that they are not so stupid as they usually are considered to be. Each mob has its leader, always an enormous black-plumed bird standing fully 6 feet high who keeps watch while his fellows busy themselves with wheat.
It's a huge bitch.
At the first suspicious sign, he gives the signal, and dozens of heads stretch up out of the crop. A few birds will take fright, start headlong stampede for the scrub. The leader always remains for safety. The army tried gunning them down in moving trucks, but they found they couldn't aim properly at their speedy foes. The lone victim rendered himself a nuisance and his corpse getting tangled up in the vehicle's steering equipment, which caused it to veer off and destroy half the length of somebody's fin. And so it just goes on about like all different things of how, and they even talk about the amount of ammunition it uses, which is about 2,500 rounds ammunition to destroy 200 emus. 2,500 rounds to kill fucking 200 emus. And then it continued throughout the month of November and stuff, where they reported killing 100 emus every week. And it took 10 bullets to bring down one emu.
Oh my
according
god.
to them.
What the fuck?
And it says, unfortunately for our conquering heroes, the government the locals needed to take care of the problem themselves, and some 57,034 emu lives were claimed over 6 months in 1934. Now the gangly birds that takes its place of the pride of Australia coat of arms with our awkwardly gaited native kangaroo has had its status as a protected animal reinstated. The emu population around Australia is 600,000 to over 700,000 and is naturally classified as least of concern, but conservationists are working to save several wildlife populations at risk of local extinction due to encroaching human activity. And that's it. That's the whole emu war story. Like, Jesus. I cannot imagine how embarrassed Australia must be at bars. Like, you think if you had all the bars, you think everyone may be making fun of Australia because of that. they lost a fucking mini war to birds. So
I don't know what the fuck I just heard.
I did find another review, by the way. Matt, I sent it to you, and you shared it.
But that's the emu war for you.
All right, well, everyone give an applause for Mega.
How do you lose a fucking war to birds? That's what I want.
Yo, man, we gotta do an event here. We gotta go fight some Moa. I bet you those guys are harder to kill than they look.
They are, because they keep bouncing around.
You know what? That's what it totally reminded me of. It totally reminded me of the Lives of thing from Spearhead and all that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
about hunting them down.
Believe it or not, I actually recorded footage for my machinima. I wanted to have like Moas in there, so I actually like went into campaign with a couple of characters just so I could see the fucking Moas. Because I thought they were actually kind of cool when I first played the game.
Lives of the Moa.
But yeah, it's an underutilized thing, I think.
All right.
the fucking noise.
Anyways,
All right, Matt Wong, go read this review.
all right. So what is the review? Knuckle Blaster Stun Gun. Not 100,000 volts.
Oh no,
This is a real product, by the way.
What?
It's a real product.
are you serious?
Oh god.
I purchased this after I was confronted with some punks demanding that I hand over my money. I'm a relatively fit guy, but I was no match for them. That's when I realized that I need to protect myself. The day after, I bought this product and went to that very same Walmart parking lot when I was first mugged. I approached the group of hooligans standing outside the entrance, concealing my secret weapon. I coolly asked, "Remember me?" One of them looked up at me and said, "Have you come back to buy some samosas or Thin Mints? My Girl Scout troop needs to raise some more money." I replied with, "You're not taking my money this time." "But sir, they're delicious," she said. I whipped out my Knuckle Blaster stun gun and shouted, "Wrong move, bitch!" The 5 Girl Scouts ran away, screaming. As I pounded my chest in victory, I accidentally activated the stun gun and applied 950,000 volts to my right nipple. I woke up 4 hours later to the sound of heavy footsteps. Those Girl Scouts had brought their fathers, but I was ready. I lunged up at the largest one with the cry of "Raggle, Fraggle," and I hit him in the stomach. He hit the ground harder than a fat kid on a jungle gym.
What? I didn't hear that.
Fat
He
kid
hit
on
the
a
ground
jungle.
harder than a fat kid on a jungle gym.
Oh my. We just fucking died.
I fell off my chair.
Raggle, Fraggle.
Fraggle, Fraggle, motherfucker.
Oh, he's not done yet.
Yeah, it's not.
He's died. Oh shit.
As the others began to circle around me, I changed techniques. Holding both my hands in tight fists, I raised my arms to my sides and initiated the helicopter spin. They all backed off, fearing my impressive RPM. After a while, I started getting dizzy, and one of the fathers decided to tackle me. As he ran to me, I stood there, dizzy and queasy. Time was going real slow. Then I remembered. I had eaten lunch at Chipotle, and the burrito was fighting its way back up my stomach. I turned towards my enemy and launched a stream of projectile vomit at him, knocking him to the ground.
That's
Then
a
I
lot of
started
damage.
"Let the bodies hit the floor! Let the bodies hit the floor! Let the bodies hit the floor!"
This is great. I'm dying.
I grabbed my Knuckle Blaster stun gun and shoved it into my mouth, running headfirst at my foes, electrocuting them with my teeth. Eventually, they were all unconscious, and I walked home victorious.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Raggle, motherfucker.
I like that puke bit.
Oh,
Who fell in their chair twice?
I fell off my chair. God. Oh, I think I heard. I think I heard something on that second fall.
At first, it made it sound like these big. I was imagining these guys, like big, tall guys. Then it comes to the Girl Scouts. Like, what the fuck? Wait a second, something.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Like, this is the kind of shit you would hear on a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the stuff that would appear on a subreddit series and stuff. Why? Oh my god! Like, you know what? You know what? You should definitely. I would not be surprised if there was like a subreddit where all these reviews could go in
Oh,
and
there
all
was.
that.
There is.
Oh, there is? Oh, then you should definitely be submitting this shit if nobody already has. Like, oh my god. Like, people.
Well, most
need
of these
to
I just
see
typed
this.
into Google and I just found them on Google Images, so I just was like, screenshot this.
Oh.
Oh my god, that was so
You
funny.
make-
What pains me is the fact that Matt Wong is just like completely dead inside when he reads.
Yeah.
No. Like I'm trying, right? Because this is what I do. You know, I just read things.
But you're not laughing.
I'm pretty good at it. I don't laugh because like when I don't know, like I've voice acted so much that I can just
I
read
found
shit
it.
without laughing.
You found
Oh
one?
my god. Are we
No, I found the knuckle
Yeah,
blaster
it is
one. I'm
funny,
just looking
though.
for
It
one
is
that
funny.
I find hilarious. There was a banana peeler one that I kind of found
I would have.
funny but slightly
I
disturbing.
would like to know
the
what
Hutzler
happened to
banana
that guy.
peeler, banana slicer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll read that.
Yeah.
About it, so I'll read that out because I had to read that and it kind of made me laugh. Another one, which was hold up. This one's very short. It's basically Star Wars Battlefront Deluxe Edition, PlayStation 4.
Oh.
Congratulations, EA! You have earned 1 star. Additional stars can be purchased for $5.49 each. It's like, yeah. Hutzler's 571 banana slicer saved my marriage.
I feel like we read this one in the last podcast. I think. I don't remember. Go ahead.
I'll read it just in case then. What can I say about the 571B banana slicer that hasn't already been said about the wheel, penicillin, or the iPhone? Just inventions of all time. My husband and I would argue constantly over who had to cut the day's banana slices. It's one of those chores no one wants to do. You know, the old, I spent the entire day rearing our children. Maybe you can pitch in a little and cut these bananas. And of course, you think I have the energy to slave over your damn bananas? I worked a 12-hour shift just to come home to this? Things that can destroy an entire relationship. It got to the point where our children could sense the tension. The minute I heard our 6-year-old girl in her bedroom daily banana fight with her Barbie dolls, I knew we had to make a change. That's when I found the 571B banana slicer. Our marriage has never been healthier, and we've even incorporated it into our lovemaking. It's 571 banana slicer. So that's the thing. It looks like a knife. No.
Okay, I got one.
No, but
So
I wouldn't recommend trying any of it.
I'm gonna try to read this one. I haven't read it yet. So I feel like this may be our last one.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
Make it a good one.
Okay. I recently attended the party. I fucked up. I
You had one
recently
job.
attended the birthday party of my little sister. What I'm about to tell you has been modified for suitable internet use, but parent supervision is still recommended. Anyway, on with the story. It happened on a warm summer day in the middle of July. The party was at a park, the ones that had tiny little tiny dirty bathroom facilities, and the theme was Candyland. My sister wore a sparkly pink dress that was supposed to be a gumdrop, and a few kids came in with clever costumes of candy, bless their hearts. As a good brother, I felt obligated to purchase some candy for the party. Being a regular shopper of Amazon, I found these Haribo gummy... Oh no. Haribo gummy bears, and decided they would do. And they would do.
Oh shit!
Oh no!
What?
Oh.
I've actually seen those. Like actually,
Uh-oh.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I
I know what he's
going.
talking about too.
Okay. I found these Haribo gummy bears, and they decided what they would do, considering they were a 5-pound bag. What I did not consider was that aliens genetically engineered these bears to take out all sugar, and thus make them unfit for human consumption. This we all learned later.
Oh no.
Dear God.
When I got there, all the kids were flirting about...
Flirting?
Flirting.
Wait, flirting.
Wait,
When I got there, all the kids were flirting about all happy, Oh, how I wish I could see them smile again. I poured my candy into a bowl and set it up on a main table, and soon kids came by like butterflies to eat the savory bears. To say the gummies don't taste good would be a lie. These taste like their edible cousins.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Edible cut. Oh shit.
Holy Alabama, Batman. All right. And at first, no one noticed the difference. The first to fall was my own mother. Years of healthy eating and juicing, her stomach was never able to handle much sweets. And now, of all times, she decided to try candy. I'm sorry, Mom. Within 10 minutes, her stomach was growling over the din of the children, and she went on a hunt to see what could have caused her stomach to be upset. Upon finding the bag of sugar-free gummy bears, she immediately accused me of trying to poison the kids. At the time, I was so oblivious, yet now I see how... Oh my god. Yet now I see how right she was. Wow. Terrible
That's
grammar.
poor grammar.
That was poor grammar. She more or less occupied the bathroom at that point. Long story short...
Stop laughing.
That's not even the punchline, but damn.
Fucking K-pop meme over here.
Alright.
A fucking monkey.
No, normally people call me a hyena.
Long story short, I had to run the birthday party at this point since my mother refused to come out of the bathroom. Seeing the other reviews here, you probably know exactly what is going on in there, but we didn't. In between activities and pictures and games, we all went to the table to snack on the Haribo Devil Bears. Everything was great. My sister was having the time of her life, and the snack turned out to be very popular, every kid having a fair share of the 5-pound bag. Towards the middle of the day, the bag was gone, leaving only substitute sugar in the bowl. I get a text from my mom, do not let anyone else eat the sugar-free candy. It is poisonous. Followed up with, I am back at home. Dad came and got me. You will have to do the presents. Dad was at work. He must have swooped in so fast to pick her up I didn't even see him. Kind of like a SWAT team evacuation. Now that I think about it. So, poisonous? Every kid, including me, ate them. Great. But that's not all. I look up to notice a queue forming at the 4-stall restrooms, quickly growing.
No.
Wait, where is that? I seen this.
Oh no. Go on.
Hold on.
Come on. You got this.
Yeah, he tried so hard.
Go on, I'll see if I can read out.
All right, no, I got it. Okay. It was cut off at the end, so I had to find the actual full thing. Okay. So poisonous. Every kid, including me, ate them. Great, but that's not all. I look up to notice a queue forming at the 4-stall bathrooms and quickly growing. My own stomach going with all the extra evidence I needed. We needed to do something, and quick. Unfortunately, we were, as aforementioned, in a park with 4 total stalls. I watched my horror as nearly every kid was now lined up at the bathrooms. My pores started to sweat feverishly. My heart was beating at an odd rhythms, and I felt like I was burning up. So much for presents. I began to make my way down to the children, hobbling as I went so as to not cause any unfortunate accidents. That's when the smell hit. Such a smell I have never before witnessed seemed to be oozing out from underneath the bathroom doors. The brave kids in front had a stoic face of an inevitability,
Come on, read it.
As I'm sure they realized they would soon have to go in there themselves. I was as still as an execution. It was as still as an execution. Even the birds stopped their mad chirping to observe the kids leading double file into the place of doom. I later learned that the bird simply died from the fumes, which is why they were silent. Every couple of seconds, we witnessed the sounds of horror from the stalls, shrieks, moans, and unspeakable noises came from those doors. It was like hell itself chose to show itself to our birthday party. 2 weeks later, it is now August, and I am genuinely surprised to be alive. From what they tell me, a couple kids are still in critical condition, but they still make it. But they still make it. They will still make it. What happened is kind of a blur. I vaguely remember getting in the stall. See, I don't want to talk about it. The experience scarred me for life, but I did feel it was my duty to warn all other humans attempting to buy this product. If you're dumb like me, though, you're gonna be in a rush and not have time for reviews on simple candy. I mean, how can you get candy wrong? But for the 1 in 100 chance you do read this, I want to save you, like the skin grafts and colon cleanses we all went through.
What the actual?
What the fuck did I just hear?
I just found another review of the same thing. I just put down Haribo sugar-free classic gummy bee.
Oh, we did read one last podcast. I know that we did. It was one.
I got one
on
that,
the airport.
Oh, the airport.
The horror at 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But that was the last one for now. I feel like that's gonna just be a thing that we're gonna do every single podcast from now on.
I fucking love it.
But that was.
Oh my god! But literally that fucking one taser stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my god! I fell off my chair twice at that one. Like, Jesus.
Dude, I started coughing so hard. Oh.
One's put, these things are delicious, but they make my ass sound like Chewbacca.
Raggle, motherfucker.
All right. Well, our podcast has had an hour and a half now. I think this is a good time to stop.
Yes,
but
what a way to. It was.
I was hoping to talk about my YouTube channel, actually.
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, fuck YouTube. That's what I have to say first off. Not sure if any of you guys kept up with it, but I recently just got my channel back after having it mysteriously removed from the face of the earth for about 3 days.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I didn't.
She's been messing around.
I read about it on Facebook.
They disabled it for no fucking reason, and I want to say that for anybody who's watching this and you do anything on YouTube, it doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter what kind of content you post. Even if you follow the rules down to a T, you should first off always back up your content, especially if you've ever sunk any amount of time into it and you want to be able to see it again. Back it up, because you have no idea when your channel might disappear for no reason, despite not breaking any rules. Second off, be prepared that if you ever do end up in my situation where YouTube mysteriously decides to go ahead and remove your channel and tell you violated some sort of rule they will not specify on, be prepared that they will not ever get back to you, no matter what you try, whether you try their partnered email, whether you try them through an appeal process, or on Twitter with Team YouTube or YouTube creators. However, do what I did. Relentlessly file appeals and try to remain as professional as possible, because in the event you ever end up in my situation where you didn't do anything wrong, or you at least don't know what it is that you did was wrong, constantly appeal, and maybe you might get it back, because that's about the most you can do at that point before they lock you out of everything and then delete your entire Google account. So just felt like that was a pretty important PSA to tell anybody in case they want to protect their machinimas, or in case they've been working on anything else. For me, I almost lost 7 years of content in a matter of hours.
Jesus.
Damn.
Yeah.
So when you say for no reason, did they literally just not specify anything?
I can show you the screenshot, but the screenshot or the email literally just said, we have found that your Google account has violated our guidelines, and we have thus disabled it.
And not only, like, I remember that you wrote it on Facebook that it not only was like just YouTube, it was the Google account, so your email was gone, your
everything,
your sign-ins for everything are gone that you ever used.
Happened numerous times for like.
That's signs of two things, in my opinion, which I think I know what could have caused this.
Well, people are suspecting that it was the Google Plus getting shut down.
Well, I don't think it's that specifically. I think it's one of the two things is that one, you may have gotten hacked, which is a potential, and it happens a lot and stuff, because I've heard similar stuff in which people like got their shit hacked and then that kind of stuff happens.
Flag bombed.
Exactly. That was my second reason, because I think it's some people, from what I know and stuff, they don't, and of course, no, I'm not one of those. Of course, is that I know that A-Star is not liked by most people for certain reasons and stuff. But
by most people, who are the most people?
Well, but I said some people, not most people.
I heard most.
Did I say most?
I hate most.
I've never heard of that.
But anyways, but I hear, but this is kind of what shows that I think a lot of people, there's a lot of just immature people that are not willing to take opinions and stuff. This kind of goes back to our very earlier Matt brought up and all that, is that because A-Star, you give honest opinions and stuff. You give some really honest opinions, and you do give some critical help and all that. But the fact that people are either not willing to listen or choose to repent against it in some fashion is just, it's deplorable, honestly. And so it does sound like that could have been the potential thing that happened here, especially with how shitty YouTube system is for reporting and all that. Is that
honestly,
it's a very flawed system.
I appreciate your speculations, and you're not the only one to have made those. However, I don't like to put the tinfoil hat on and throw out these.
Oh no, I'm not saying that
thoughts that it might be people or some other purpose, or even just a bug in YouTube, because I don't know for sure. And the only reason why I have even entertained the idea that it might be associated with Google Plus getting shut down is because I apparently wasn't the only one this happened to. Now, I haven't seen this happen to anybody else prior, so I've seen other people get like nuked off of YouTube, but in my case, it was a lot more different because it was the entire Google account. However, there were two other YouTubers that had this happen to them, and evidently it was connected to their Google Plus accounts getting disabled, despite YouTube saying you violated something. However, I don't.
I'm sorry.
Wait, I don't think I was hacked, because two things. One, I can see all the login activity on my Google account, all the devices, all the past devices, as well as any new login.
They email you once they.
Well, I can go into my Google settings and figure that out for.
So obviously, if a hacker did go in, you'd notice it like that, basically.
Correct, and from what I can tell, after getting my account back, there's no evidence that my account was hacked or compromised, I hope. Regardless, I still changed everything. I transferred all my social media over to a new email anyway. But in regards to the other idea that maybe it was a mass flag bomb or something else, that would be one thing. However, it's not like, I understand that people don't like how critical I am sometimes. That's fine. The issue is that if this was a real thing that could happen, if YouTube was, I know YouTube is broken, but if it was that broken, any big YouTuber would be gone. And it doesn't even matter if they're partnered. There's plenty of unpartnered YouTubers that would also be gone just for having an opinion, because they can get shut down by anybody else. And this doesn't happen. I've seen other people who produce a lot more risky, skeevy content, as well as just honest content that might land them in trouble, who don't get this kind of treatment. And it just comes down to YouTube either being completely broken and having a system that doesn't work right as soon as they change something without telling anybody, like what I'm assuming happened with Google Plus here, because it's the only thing that makes sense, or that it's a case that somebody within YouTube specifically sanctioned your censorship or deletion, which is something that happened with a YouTuber called Mumkey Jones. However, I've spoken with two larger YouTubers, that being Wang and Memology 101, and
Wang as in Wang time?
No, as in Wang.
Oh.
Yeah, he's talking about literally Wang. It's a
much bigger YouTuber.
Much bigger.
He speculated that it was possibly the Mumkey videos that I did, but they weren't that bad. One of them was a re-upload of Mumkey's stuff, but Grumpy has the exact same video in his channel, and he wasn't affected by anything. However, Mimology 101 speculated that it might be because of the Google Plus situation, and he explained that this happened to another YouTuber who was partner verified. So that's why he thinks that might be the most likely culprit. I will never really have an answer. It's not like YouTube's ever going to be transparent about it. I had a verified friend of mine reach out specifically to YouTube via email, and they said it was taken care of, meaning a human did look at it and they said it was taken care of, but they didn't clarify what the exact details were or why I was punished, what violation I was given. Because if I look here in these emails, the initial email says very clearly the Google account followed by my email is now disabled. It looks like it was being used in a way that violated Google's policies. And then, after making an appeal, and mind you, I did this twice, I get the exact same auto reply. Hello. Thank you for your account. Thank you for your account suspension appeal. We have decided to keep your account suspended based on our community guidelines and terms of service. Sincerely, the YouTube team. So, this is something that actually happened, and that was so unclear because I was thinking, okay, well, is it just my YouTube channel that's suspended and I get to keep my Google account, or is everything still set on full course for deletion and execution? I don't know what will ever be the answer. The whole point is the takeaway is if you care about the content that you make and you don't want it to be gone forever, please archive it, and also be prepared that YouTube is not a stable platform. I don't think YouTube's going to last very long in terms of being the top place for people to go to, as well as being creator friendly. It's notoriously terrible, and I say this because people probably should start realizing that there might need to be better alternatives other than this one giant monopoly platform. I strongly suggest people be prepared for the worst in the case that YouTube has other problems. I know that Article 13 is going to make a lot of things very difficult with YouTube, but then there's also corporations trying to take advantage of this. I know that corporations have a lot of ties to how YouTube works, meaning they get perks that other YouTubers don't get, even like
especially in the copyright.
Yeah, in the biggest departments of YouTube, only a few YouTube channels that are owned by YouTube have a certain amount of privileges that even the biggest YouTubers don't. That being one of them, re-uploading your video with the same URL. So say that you want to change something after the fact and you don't want to lose your views, your comments, your ratings. There's only a handful of channels that can do that. Apple is one of them. Sony is one of them. And recently, we have the Indian government trying to take YouTube to court to ban and remove PewDiePie because of that whole T-Series debacle. And that's a good example of why you should steer very careful about these platforms that give corporations a large amount of power, because who knows, we very well may see PewDiePie's channel vanish one day or something like that.
I hope it doesn't.
So that's just my 2 cents I wanted to throw out there in regards to my situation. I don't really want to throw it out there in terms of like promoting my channel. Just I want this to be a good example for people to learn from my situation.
But I mean, hey, here's the positive side. Google Plus is gone.
Yeah, but it was never necessary in the first place, and it looks like it did more harm than good, considering it was likely linked to my account getting destroyed.
Was your I think your account is relatively new compared to the one that I met you on, isn't it?
Yes. The one you met me on was made in 2008, and it's still around now. However, the one that I currently have right now was made in like 2013 or 2012. It was made 7 years ago or so.
Okay, so roughly around the time when Google Plus was forcing it on.
Yes.
Yeah. So that seems like it would be correct on the fact that it could have been linked to the whole Google Plus being shut down. Thankfully, I created my YouTube channel before the whole Google Plus thing, so I'm kind of just glad that Google Plus is just gone. Well, anyway.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Damn.
I feel like that's pretty much it. This is running around the same length as episode 2, which was the longest podcast we had.
But you know what? Worth it.
It was worth it.
Yeah,
definitely.
So, and also, guys, like I'm changing the not just to you, but the audience members. I'm changing the way that the podcast is being formatted. It's gonna be more this route of where I'm recording the Discord screen, and you see everybody's little pictures and little things on Discord, so you can actually differentiate who's talking. I'm taking away the memes and GIFs that was previously shown in other episodes. I feel like it's just unnecessary editing, because ultimately, Matt Wong has even proven to me people listen to podcasts more than they watch them. So I feel like that's kind of like the driving point that I'm trying to make, is that visually I'm going to try to make this pretty standard. It's easier to render out too, because like if there's nothing there for visual stuff that's moving around a whole lot and a whole lot of frames, it renders within like 30 minutes when it's in like an hour and a half long video. So I don't really have much else to say. Colonel Goard episode 1 is finally done, so I'm working on that. Auditions are still going through. It'll be over by the time this is out, but I'm dedicating the first episode of Colonel Goard to someone that was very dear to me that I recently lost. And anybody that knows me personally, pretty much everybody here will know who it was, but I'm going to kind of keep it under wraps until episode 1's out.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. But I'm going to be dedicating the first episode of Colonel Goard to that person. It's along the same lines that I dedicated episode 6 of season 1 to. So it's something important to me, and I felt like that the person needs to be honored. So be on the lookout for that, I guess. I don't want to seem like I'm trying to garner some sort of sympathy, but like it's, no, of course. But anyway, be on the lookout for Colonel Goard stuff. That's going to be much more in the works right now, because the first episode's finished, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm excited. I want to write more, and I want to create more stories, and so Colonel Goard's, I'm really excited. So I have to do some forging, and I need to do some big forging, and I need to find somebody to work with it on it, because holy shit. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add?
I was just gonna joke and just basically say you sound a lot more motivated when as compared to me when it comes to me making my stories, because half the time it's I feel really motivated to draw this character, and then get down to it and I'm just like,
nah, I don't feel like that.
I might go on games. Damn it.
All right.
That's where it's like I'm trying to go to sleep, and my head's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm trying to sleep. What about your writer's block? For fuck's sake. Go away.
I think probably my last thoughts, maybe just a few suggestions for the people who might be listening and stuff. So first of all, what's your thoughts on Star Wars Episode 9 teaser? So of course, that's a big thing. Say what you want in the comments. And if you really enjoy some funny stories, we don't mind suggestions. I think we could all have some.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I definitely think there could be a lot of... I think if people really like some of these funny stories, I think we could always be open to suggestions and stuff. Yeah. Whether they're from Reddit posts or things like what Matt's been looking through, Amazon, Steam, anything like that, and we'll read them. Or have Matt Wong read them.
Most likely Matt Wong.
Someone will read them.
I'm down to read. I'm always good.
It's the sit down. It's the sit down stories with the sit down.
Yeah, that's me. Sitting down with
just missing the fireplace.
I feel like that's a segment that we're gonna have to just like say, going like, "It's time to sit down, everybody," and then we just know it's Amazon review time.
Listen up, boys and girls.
It just cuts to screen like the stories with Matt Wong.
And it's just all our characters sitting around
the campfire.
Just sitting.
That's some artwork.
Yeah.
With him in a chair, just
God.
like a
Nagi, all of them.
All right, we're getting a little off topic. So,
yeah.
But yeah, if anyone has any sort of suggestions on what they want to say, what they want us to talk about the next podcast, please we'll try to get to that as much as we can. And yeah,
we will see you in the next.
Yeah, we'll see you. I almost copied Markiplier, and then I realized I could be copyrighted for that.
Bye-bye!
See ya.
But anyway, thanks for joining, guys. Be sure to look out for our more content on the channel, and be sure to check out everybody else's channel in the link with their links in the description.
Me, I don't have one.
Me neither.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Good podcast, everyone.
Bye.